Hello, and welcome to your Implementation Essentials on-demand training in Canvas. My name is Rebecca Kitchen, and I am a trainer with eDynamic Learning, and I will be your guide today. Before we get started, I'd like to look at a couple pieces of housekeeping. If you did not receive the participant guide before viewing this recording, there is a bit.ly here. I'm going to make it bigger on your screen. You can pause the recording to go to that bit.ly to get the participant guide. There are some additional bits of information in that guide that will support you as we go through the training and also provide some follow-up resources. Also, if you do not yet have your Canvas login, now is a great time to pause the recording and make sure that you can log into your Canvas account. If you have access to a second display screen, I would encourage you to follow along with me during the presentation while you're in your own course on a separate screen, because the structure of all our courses is going to be similar. This is our agenda for the day. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit about eDynamic Learning. We're going to look at how the courses are structured and how they've been designed, and then we're going to go into Canvas. We'll look first at teacher controls, and then we'll dive into the student experience. We will look at gradebooks along with assessments and customization options, and then I'll show you some additional resources that are available to you outside of Canvas. I'd like to give you a little bit of information about who you're going to be working with. eDynamic Learning was founded by teachers with a mission to help students discover their passions and explore career opportunities. eDynamic offers over 270 courses and growing for students between 6th and 12th grade. eDynamic is the largest publisher of career and technical education courses and elective courses in North America. The courses are very flexible and customizable. They are designed to be taught either synchronously or asynchronously, and they can be customized to fit your unique teacher needs and student needs. The curriculum is built and maintained in-house, so we have timely updates and high responsiveness to customer feedback. If you contact the company, you will be contacting somebody who is actually in-house at eDynamic. eDynamic is part of Pearson Career Ready. Pearson Career Ready brings everything together in one place, which allows you as a teacher to guide your students towards future-ready career choices. We have industry-aligned CTE training in fields like IT, health sciences, and business. There are many different ways that you can implement the curriculum. It is built so that it can be used independently and fully online by students, or you can use it in class as a digital textbook. This really shines when you combine the two, when you have teacher-directed learning that is student-centered and you use the power of those digital resources that are available through eDynamic courses. Also on the slide at the bottom, you see some other ways that these courses can be used outside of a traditional school day for enrichment and extracurricular programs. When you're working with Canvas and you're delivering your content, students are going to be able to access their materials on any device, anywhere they have connectivity. So this includes desktops and laptops, cell phones, tablets, Chromebooks. They can use many different browsers to access their content. Because they have this universal access, it's important that you set expectations for your students on how they should format their work. All eDynamic courses include orientation materials and rubrics for each assignment that students are going to be turning in. Let's take a look at how the courses are structured and the design process. So I am going to address the course design, the organization of the courses. We are going to be looking at the contents and then the features that are available within those courses. And then I'm going to make sure that you know where to go to find the resources that you need. No matter what you're teaching, the course structure and organization is going to be similar. It's very helpful for you as a teacher. It's also helpful for students. So when you move from one course to another, the heavy lift is not in the organization. It's actually the content that you're going to be focusing on. There are multiple learning theories that have been taken into account as our courses are designed. There are simple behavioristic type elements with immediate feedback, such as our flashcards. We chunk information to limit students' cognitive load, and students will construct and organize new knowledge using the interactive tools that are provided so they can build on their prior knowledge. The learning theories are going to provide opportunities for students who have different learning styles, as well as teachers who have different teaching styles, and give everyone the tools that they need in order to be successful. Let's take a look at the design process. Anytime a course is designed for eDynamic learning, we use the backwards design process. This technique starts always with the big idea, that end product in mind. So you can see that this is step 1, step 2, step 3. The first thing eDynamic does is identify what the desired results are, and then working with subject matter experts, they decide what is the best way for students to prove that they have mastered the content. Is that a test? Is it a final project? It's going to usually be a test, but occasionally it will be a large project that students are turning in. And then the learning experiences are designed so that they support that culminating assessment so that students can show clearly that they have learned and done what they need to in that course to be successful. In this next section, your participant guide is going to give you some extra information. In every course, you're going to see the teacher resources folder, the Getting Started for Students folder, and the learning units. The teacher resources folder is only visible to teachers. The Getting Started for Students folder is visible for everyone, and it contains resources that will be valuable both for teachers and for students. One of the things that you will find in that teacher resources folder is the pacing guide. And this pacing guide will tell you more than just how many weeks per unit. In general, our courses are going to be 8 units. They are built to take up a semester, and that will give you about 2 weeks per unit. Included in this pacing guide, though, there are also suggestions for different kinds of interactive activities and experiences that you can lead your students through so that this is not just them reading material online. There are interactives for them to engage in for experiential learning outside of that computer time. Also, in that teacher resources section, you will see several valuable resource guides. These guides are not connected to the curriculum. These are guides that you can use for any course. So I'm going to highlight the blended learning guide later, but if you're using some of these other strategies with your students, such as project-based learning or inquiry-based learning, these are guides that will give you ideas based on eDynamic format and content so that you can use our courses for these other kinds or these other formats of learning. Another section is the Getting Started for Students folder. And in that folder, you will find many materials for student success. Those materials are visible to students and include things like the course vocabulary and the syllabus for the course. And all of those components are listed in your participant guide. The last section of our inverted triangle that I would like to point out to you is the content of each of those units. So within the lessons, the vocabulary is bolded. You can hover over it for the full definition. There is a full list available in those students' resources. There are embedded interactives like animations and videos and drop downs. There are plenty of opportunities for group and partner work. And then there are formative assessments. Some of these are just pause and think about it activities, and then students will type in their answer and get feedback from the course automatically. There are other places where in the last unit or the last lesson of each course, there is a check for understanding. And that's like a little mini quiz that will help students know if they are ready to move on to the quiz, if they're ready to move on to the other activities. The last thing on this list that you see is the podcasts. Our podcasts are high quality audio of the lesson content. They're useful both for students And for teachers, this is a great way to preview your material if you're teaching the class for the first time. Let's take a look at your LMS, which is Canvas. We'll take a look at Canvas. Dashboard is the default landing page. You will see all the courses that you are enrolled in as a teacher in that center area. If I look at the global navigation menu down the left, you'll see account information. The courses place will tell you all the courses that you have access to, ones that are published and unpublished, and your past courses as well. Calendar will give students assignment due dates. Inbox is for messaging with students. Your history will show where you have been in Canvas, and help we will look at later when we're talking about customizing. This has many Canvas guides that will be helpful for you if you have Canvas specific questions. So we are going to go into a course. I'm going to choose Workplace and Internship Readiness. There are some options here to customize. If you click, you can change the color. You can nickname the course if you have several class periods and you want to make sure that you have either a template or different class periods that you're working with. You can do that here. I'm going to click on that course tile and it will take me into the course. If it's all expanded, you can click collapse to clean it up a little bit. We are going to first look at teacher resources. So you can see those parts that I mentioned to you before: teacher resources, getting started for students, and then the units and the exams. So we're going to start in teacher resources. You can see this is not published, so students are not going to be able to see it. If you have a course, double check and make sure that that is not published, because that's where all the answer keys are as well. I'm going to open that up, and you'll see first the pacing guide that I mentioned with those additional activities that you can work with your students face-to-face. And then we have our teaching guides. I'm going to open the teaching guides right now, and you'll see this is the place where if your course has lesson plans, you will find them. If you're working in a state-specific course, this is also where you will find any alignment documents that are included with your course. When I click on a lesson plan, it will download as a Word document, and you can use this either open as a Word document or you can save it as a Google Doc. Once you've downloaded it, this belongs to you. So you can feel free to edit it to make it your own, kind of like you would with a recipe. You will see references to slides in the lesson plan as you go, and we will look at those slides in just a minute. You will also see places where you have instructional suggestions, time estimates, and differentiation, intervention, and extension suggestions as well. So make these your own so that you can use them again the next year and know what worked really well for your students. The second thing in this teacher resources section is the course slides. So when you click on this, this will download as a PowerPoint. Just like those lesson plans, once you download this, this is yours. This PowerPoint can be saved as Google Slides as well. And this is something that is great for focusing students on what they're going to be learning. There are vocabulary slides in here. You can add to this. You again can make this your own. The next part here is a guide on teaching with AI. This information is going to give you some practical strategies and things to consider. It's not going to tell you that you should use AI. It's going to give you some things to think about, and then you can use your own school and district's guidelines as far as participating in AI with your students. So these are the other guides that I mentioned, the blended learning. You can see inquiry-based, project-based. Each of these will download as a PDF. So when I download the blended learning guide, I will be able to see how that downloads. And then there are many different, again, lesson plans in here that you can use with your students. So I'm going to open up discussion points, and you can see there's a strategy, there's learning objectives. Some of these require some pre-planning. This is one that's pretty straightforward and can be used over and over again. So to make sure that all students are participating in discussions, you can provide them chips or a slip of paper every time they add to a discussion. And then the goal can be to get to a certain number of chips. As an exit ticket, they can hand those to you. If they don't have chips, you can ask them a personal question on their way out, and that gives you the opportunity to have them participate in the discussion in a way. If they were nervous doing it in the whole group, they still have the opportunity to give you a fact or an idea from the discussion. So this is just an example of one of the opportunities that is presented in this blended learning guide. So the next thing I would like to show you, going back to our teaching guides, I'm going to follow these breadcrumbs up here. You can see where this is going to take me back. Modules is always going to be our home base because that's where you can see all the information, but we are going to be looking at teacher resources still. We looked at the pacing guide, the teaching guides. Let's take a look at those suggested answers. Many of the questions that your students are going to be answering are not low-level questions. They're going to be critical thinking questions where students are asked to analyze and apply content that they've been studying. So rather than objective answers, you're going to see answers will vary but should include or may include. It will also provide you with the rubric that students saw when they were completing their work. This is a great time to remind them of any other expectations that you have in your classroom as far as putting headings on the paper or the format that you would like them to have. The same information is provided here for discussion questions. Those answers will vary, but should include or may include. If you find that students have not included some of these answers, that gives you a great place to work from in class and to add to those discussions. So I'm going to go back again to the teacher resources, and you'll see that you have a place for feedback and then acknowledgements for people who were involved in creating the course. The next place we're going to look is the Getting Started for Students folder. This is published, but like I said, there are things in here that will be very valuable to you as a teacher. Let's start from the bottom. Depending on the course that you're looking at, there may be additional parts to this Getting Started folder. So let's take a look, starting with companion courses. Companion courses is going to tell you other courses that are connected to this content or other things that students may be interested in based on them taking this course. There's the course bibliography. This is course vocabulary for the entire course. This is something you may want your students to download and save in a digital folder while they're working on the course. If you are teaching a course that has an industry certification that they are preparing for, you will also see a link here to that information about where that course falls and other courses that are required in order for them to prepare for those industry certification tests. Let's take a look at required materials. You will see here everything that's required to take this course outside of the actual course content that is on Canvas. So you can see here's things for physical things and software, and then it could be other items, maybe for art supplies or drawing materials, those kinds of things may be on this list as well. This is listed unit by unit and activity by activity, so you will know to look ahead, see if there's any adjustments that you need to make, anything that you need to pre-plan for, or anything that you may need to replace. Let's take a look next at the course syllabus. This course syllabus gives you a good outline for the course. This is another thing. If I go up here, I can print it or create a PDF. This is something else that you might want to just practice with students to have them download this. This will give them that backbone of the information. This is what they're going to be studying throughout the course. This can be helpful even if you're making some changes to the course so that they have an idea of what this course is about. Going back again using my breadcrumbs. you can also see this section here. This is that material I was mentioning to you earlier, where you are going to be orienting your students to what it's like to work in a digital course. So to start with, there is student information about the course features. We're going to look at some of those in more depth. Things such as the literacy support toolbar and the podcasts. So we're going to look at those as teachers, but the information is here for students as well. There is a study skills section. And then there is a place where you can discuss with your students not only the rubrics that they're going to see for the different assignments that they're turning in, but also any class expectations that you may have. An example would be a specific heading that you want, or if you want them to format things where they always give you questions and answers, or if there's specific fonts or colors that you want them to use or you don't want them to use. Remember, your students can be accessing this from their phones, from a tablet, from a laptop. So giving them these clear expectations will be really helpful for you as a teacher when you receive those assignments. So the rubrics are available for anything they are turning in. So activities, labs, discussions, their critical thinking questions, all will have rubrics. And then there is a section where you can discuss with them different parts of academic integrity, digital integrity, academic honesty. There is an honor code here that you can use, or you can use this as a template and create your own. This is a great time if you have district policy, AI policy, any kind of handbook that applies to digital learning. This is a great time to have that discussion with them as well. So this is a great place to start with your students during that first week of school when things are getting started, so that you have really set those expectations and they've practiced navigating a little bit inside the course. Let's go back. I'm going to click out of Getting Started for Students and click into the Modules section. And let's take a look at our unit structure. I'm going to open unit number 3. You can open any unit. They are all going to be formatted the same. So you can see unit 3 starts with an introduction. Then we have the lessons and the podcast. These lessons are the content of your course. So if you're going to be using the critical thinking questions, the quizzes, all the activities, all the information that all those activities are based on is going to be in those lessons. So if you need to pare something down, make sure that you have covered the content in those lessons. Let's take a look at the podcast. The podcast is a great tool. This is a professionally narrated audio of the unit content. It can be used in several different ways. You can see that you can tell how long it is. You can speed it up. You can play this right here, or you can use it as a pop-up player that will stay in front of students' work. You can download it as an MP3 player. This can be moved so that when you are about to start your unit, you can slide that from after those lessons to before the lessons, if you're going to have students use that podcast so that when they're going through the course, that's what they see first. So in addition to the podcast, you see these assignments that students are going to be turning in. So whenever you see a Dropbox, that is what is attached to the gradebook. If you're sliding around anything else, make sure that you leave the Dropbox right after the activity so that students can access it easily. As I go down here farther, you'll also see flashcards, and those flashcards are set up as a tool for students to practice important information in the courses. And then after the flashcards, the next thing you see is going to be the Unit 3 quiz. So all the quizzes are set up so that they are 15 multiple choice questions out of a quiz bank of 50. The midterms and the finals have 50 questions, and their quiz banks tend to be around 200 questions. There are ways that you can adjust these, but by default, those are the things that you're going to be seeing for quizzes, midterms, and finals. So let's go ahead and we will look at discussions in a minute when I show you how students are submitting their assignments. Right now, I want to go back up to lesson number 1. So I'll give you a second to catch up with me. Be on lesson number 1. And you'll see on my screen as I scroll through this that the vocabulary words, if you hover over them, they will get the definition. You can see rotators here. Students may need to be reminded that anytime they see those dots and arrows, there is additional information behind them. So sometimes they will see short videos that they will watch. There may be sections where they are able to click on an arrow. These are not just cute little arrow-shaped bullet points. Anytime they see those arrows, there's more information behind them. When you get to sections like this, these can be great places to pause and do partner sharing or group discussion kinds of things as well. You'll see many interactive pictures, different things that students can really pause, and discussion places for you. At the top of every page, you are going to see the accessibility toolbar. So I'm hovering over that now. When you click on it, these first 4 buttons are going to select what you want played, play the content, pause, and stop. And in that student getting started section, all of this, there's a student-facing written out explanation for all of these. Every student is going to have their own accessibility toolbar. So if you have support people who are helping individual students, this is great information for them to have as well. So if I click the select button, I click here, it is going to automatically play.
02. Navigating your training period.
I can pause, I can stop, and then I'm going to unclick the hand. The next thing is the translator. You can highlight any or all of your content, click the translator, and then what comes up is a play button where you can actually play that content so that they can listen to
afrontar tu periodo de formación, tu experiencia laboral.
Or they will have it written as well. Most languages have both options, but I will show you in the settings where you can see if there's going to have the audio as well as the written translation. The next tool is the dictionary. So if I highlight a word such as a classroom and then click the dictionary, it's going to tell me what a classroom is. These again are play buttons for students who may need to hear that information. The next tool is the picture dictionary. This can be great for practicing vocabulary. If I highlight month and I want to see the picture dictionary, it's going to show me the calendar. Sometimes with your vocabulary that is important to your course, there may not be a picture dictionary. This is a great way to show students what a picture dictionary would look like and then have them create one using their vocabulary from the course. There is a tool here for note-taking where students can do a strike through, they can highlight in different colors, and then once they have highlighted things, they can use the gathering tool to gather all the things that have been colored in a certain color together. They can also use the erase button to erase any of these notes that they have done. This can be really, really engaging for students if you give them that information for whether they are going to be doing compare and contrast or highlighting things in a certain color. When they click gather, those will be gathered together. That can be then copied and pasted onto a separate document to turn in. The last tool in the toolbar here is the screen masking tool. And you have the ability to change this to align or to reverse what is light and what is dark. And this can be a great place for students who need to have that tracking assistance, or you can use it when you are displaying something on a smart board to focus attention where it needs to be. Let's take a look at the settings in this. This is the screen mask settings that you can change. You have your translation settings where you do have many, many languages, and you can see the ones that have the audio portion included. And then you also have general settings. If you have a student who needs to listen to the content slower, this is the tool that you're going to want. The podcast that we looked at earlier can speed up the content. This is where you can slow it down if a student needs to hear it at a slower pace. That is that toolbar. When I click off this page, all my notes will disappear. So remind students, if they are using this for a project, they need to copy and paste them when they're doing it, because if I click to the next page, those are going to be gone. I'm going to navigate using these breadcrumbs to go back to Unit 3. I want to look at the last lesson in this unit. This is where you're going to have that formative assessment for your students. So this is a knowledge check that they will be able to complete. You can do this as a whole class, or you can have students do this individually. But these questions are based on the goals that were stated in the introduction to the lesson. And this will give them, if they click the incorrect answer, it will tell them why it is not correct. And then if they click the correct answer, it will make sure that they understand why they have chosen the correct answer. So that is going to be in the last lesson of each unit. Let's take a look now at what students will do if students are going to submit an assignment. So I'm going to move to a different course right now. I'm going to go back over to my dashboard, and I'm going to click a course that has a gradebook set up in it. And we're going to look at this from the student point of view. You will see a purple band around here. This is just a test student, so feel free to go in there and play with it. And I'm going to look at, again, Unit 3. I'm going to go to the critical thinking questions. And students will see the questions and then the rubric. Some teachers want students to copy both the questions and the rubric. I am going to copy the questions here. And then I'm going to, from the bottom here, click Next, and that will take me to the Dropbox. First step is to click Start Assignment. And then students have some options here. You have some options for how you would like students to do this. By default, the first thing that comes up is File Upload, and you can have your Office account or a Google account attached to this so that students are going to be using those to upload things. They also can just drag a file or submit a Word document or a PDF here. You also have the option to go in and have them do text entry. If you were to do that, you can paste that into that text entry, and they have all these tools they can use to add their heading, change font, whatever you want them to do to create that there in class. So depending on the students you're working with, one or the other may be more helpful for you. And then when they submit the assignment, because this is that Dropbox, you're going to be able to see that as a teacher from the other side. I am going to go back to modules, because remember, that's home base where I can see everything. Collapse everything, and we are working in Unit 3. Let's go down and take a look at those discussions. As a student, when I open up a discussion, if I am going to complete this digitally, I am going to copy the question. And then I'm going to click Reply. Many of the questions have multiple parts to them. It may be helpful for your students to break those up so that they are sure that they're answering all the parts to the questions. you have the options to do these questions out loud in class or to have students complete them digitally. If they are doing them digitally, they are then going to click the reply button and you will see their response. So again, that is an automatic Dropbox that is connected to the discussions. I am now going to leave the student view. And I am going to click into the course as a teacher. So different course than we looked at before. You can see the same format. Along the side here, you see that there is an index. If I want to hide it, I can click this hamburger menu. But my course navigation menu may look different from yours. Some of these are going to be controlled by your school, IT, and admin. But the ones I want to point out to you, home and modules will bring you back here. Assignments and grades are going to show you just those parts of the courses. And there are some different tools in there that we will take a look at. So on the right side, you will see import existing content. If you're adding additional content into the course, choose what you're going to see as your home page. You can view what has happened in the course. You can make an announcement for your students. I'm going to click on course analytics. It's not going to be very exciting in my course because I have pretend students, but these course analytics, you will be able to see the course grades, weekly online activity by your students, who your students are and a little bit about them individually. And then there's a place where you can run these different reports. So again, yours are going to look different from mine, especially because you'll have students in your courses, but take a look and see what kind of data you can pull using those reports. Let's go back to our modules. Remember, I can click home or modules to get back to my main content. If I look here, the next thing we're going to do is open up the assignments tab. These are just the assignments that students are going to be turning in. And there are some tools here. If you're going to be using groups, this is where you're going to add groups, and that'll be important if you're going to weight your assignments. If I go into this vertical ellipsis here, it gives me the option to edit my assignment dates. So I can put specific assignment due dates when they're available here, and I can do that for my entire course. If something happens and I need to shift those dates, I can select them, I can batch edit them and shift all my due dates by a certain number of days, or I can remove all my due dates. So those are tools that are available in the assignment tab that you won't see in the modules tab. We are going to now go to the next link, which is the grades button. This grade buttons is going to show you your gradebook. So your students are going to be listed on the left side. Each one of these columns has different things that you can manipulate in order to create exactly the gradebook you want. Each column also has actions that you can access using that, and those will only show up when you hover over them. This is also a place where you can go into your settings, and if you would like to change your late policy, if you would like to change your grade posting policy, or even the colors of how things are going to come up in your gradebook, those can all be done here. If you scroll all the way to the right, you will see a column called total. I am going to click that vertical ellipsis, and it gives me the ability to move that to the front, which I want to do because this will pin my students' grades to the front here so that I always know wherever I am in the gradebook what their current score is. Let's take a look at grading assignments. We have auto-graded and manual graded. So the only things in your course that are going to be automatically computer scored are going to be your quizzes and tests. Everything else, you as a teacher will be giving feedback to your students. So when you are grading assignments, you have some options. Your first option is direct input. If you know that all of your students are going to get 10 points for a particular activity, you can click those and just add them in without opening those assignments. If you want to look at the full assignment and add comments to what your students have done, if you click this arrow, it gives you the option to go into the SpeedGrader and view that assignment. You will see what their assignment looked like. You have your options for giving them comments in the comment boxes or opening their actual assignment and marking up that assignment. So these tools are available to you. You can also download that assignment if you wanted to look at that there. And then we are going to go back to the Gradebook. In the Gradebook, you will be able to also use that either direct input or SpeedGrader for grading your discussion posts. So if I have a discussion post and I open it up, this had that built-in drop box, and you can, again, just see the comments that you left, or you can go into SpeedGrader and see the assignment as well. It is the same process if you're going to be looking at quizzes. Quizzes are computer scored, but you have access to how your students did, and you can adjust their scores based on other information you have. In this case, this student has 21 out of 15, and I have left a note on the assignment that said it has been adjusted to reflect extra credit. If I scroll down to the very bottom of this quiz, there is a section here called fudge points, and you can see I have added 15 extra points to this student's score. You can add or subtract using fudge points and then update that score, and that will be reflected in the gradebook. So you do have the ability to comment on individual questions as well as giving a full quiz comment to your students. Let's take a look back now at our slideshow. So on our slideshow, we have looked in Canvas. Let's talk a little bit about customizing. So in these courses, you do have the ability to customize, edit, rearrange, modify, embed. You can personalize assignments and quizzes and links. You can't change the actual content in the textbook portion of the course, but you can, just like any other course that you have created yourself, you can add assignments to it. So in order to, let's move back into Canvas, and I want to go to modules and show you one way that you can add content to your course. I'm going to collapse all, and let's say that I want to add a module. I would click from here. I just want to add an assignment. So I'm going to click at this unit because I am adding this assignment to this unit. The first click opens the unit. If I click it again, it gives me this option to add an assignment. The dropdown will give me different kinds of assignments that I can create from here, but I'm going to create just a regular assignment. I am going to name my assignment, and then I like to use the indent to remind myself that I have added something into that. So I will add the item. What I did just now is I created a container for me to add that information. So I'm going to move that up. Let's say that I want to do goals before I actually get in here. You can see currently it is not published. From the modules section, and you will see this on all these assignments, you can change the title of it. You can change the indentation, but there's not a lot of other editing that can be done from this screen. In order to actually add the content, I'm going to click on the title, and this will give me the settings for this assignment. Currently, there's nothing in this assignment. It's just a placeholder. I'm going to click edit, and then I am going to add some content here for my assignment. So I can even change the topic, and I'm just going to copy and paste this in here. I'm going to copy and paste my instructions in here. I like to keep my assignments separate so that I have them not just in Canvas, but in my files. And then if I decide that I'd like to add a video as well, I'm going to come over here to other options. I'm looking for that cloud, and I'm going to choose the embed code. This is a video from YouTube. So I right-clicked on the video and it gave me the option to copy the embed code. I'm going to click that there. And then rather than just a link, students will see a preview to that video. So here's my assignments. If I would like to preview it, I can do that. I can come down here and change the settings, who it is assigned to, the kind of submission, if I want it to be a group assignment, all my access information. So here again, I can either save and publish it, or I can just save it. And I am going to click Save and Publish. So I have the option also to look here if I want to view as a student, what is a student going to see when they get to this page? And you can see this is exactly what they will see when they get to this page. I am leaving student view. So that is one way that you can add content to your courses. And I am going to back now to modules. You'll be able to see that where I have included it. Here is another tip for you. If you decide, oh no, I didn't want to put that in this course, and you want to remove it, you can remove it here. It will go into your assignments. If you want to actually delete it because you are positive that you're never going to use that in this, you can still find that in assignments. If you decide that you want to actually truly delete it, you can do that from the assignments tab. But what if you suddenly realize, oh no, I deleted it, but I need it? Here is a tip for you. If you go up to this top and you remove the word assignments and instead type in undelete, it will show you every assignment that you have deleted from this course and give you the ability to restore it. That will put it back into your course where you had it in the first place. So there are tons of other things that you can do within Canvas. I am going to go back to my modules right now because that's my home base. I mentioned to you earlier that I was going to mention this help button. When you go into help, this is a place that you can go to search Canvas guides, to visit the Canvas community. I'm going to click on visit the Canvas community and it will show you this is a database with all kinds of how-tos. If you want to learn how to create groups, how to customize your quizzes, all those kinds of things, this custom community, this community will give you the ability to do that. So that is something that you can access from this help button here. Let's move back to our slideshow. We had just talked about customizing, and I just want to remind you that this means that this is not a one-size-fits-all solution. You are completely in control of what students work on and how they do those assignments. There is no correct way. I would like to give you some other additional resources that you have access to. These are going to be outside of Canvas. So take a breath in case you need to pause. We're going to shift gears. You can see the eDynamic Learning website address at the bottom of this page, and that's where we're going to go right now. So pause me if you need to, and then join me on eDynamicLearning.com. So there are 4 places that I would like to show you on the eDynamic Learning website. The first one is support in the center at the top. I'm going to right click on it because I would like it to open in a new tab. It will make it easier for me to get back here again. So opening it in a new tab, and you will see this support page. If you have a specific question that you need to ask and you know you need to contact support, there is a button here and another one here that will take you into a form that you can fill out. There are some help features on this main page, but let's look at that support ticket. This is where you would fill out all this information. You will get an auto reply. That is why it's so important to give them as much information as you possibly can so that they're not replying to you later with, how can I help you? But you have given them all the information, links to the pages, descriptions of what's going on so that they can get involved with helping you right away. So that is support. I'm going to go back to the main page. Number 2, the second place I would like to show you is from this drop down under resources. And we're going to go down to curriculum teacher resources. Many of the things in this section at the beginning are talking about how to do things in the Buzz LMS. So I'm going to scroll down past those and into where we have pacing guides. And you'll see the sample pacing guide and the blank pacing guide. Those are the same as the ones that you saw in your course. There's also a sample block schedule template here. And then I'm going to scroll down and there are quick links here. So course placement resources are great for people who are making bigger decisions as far as what courses students will be taking. Tech support will take you back to that support page. Professional development is other workshops that are offered. I would like you to right-click on Student Corner and open that in a new tab. When you get to that Student Corner section, these are student-facing videos. The first few are created using the Buzz LMS, but I want to show you specifically the literacy support toolbar. If you watch this on YouTube, you'll be able to right-click and get that link. So if you want to create a custom assignment for your students so that they can watch the literacy support toolbar coaching, this is an 8-minute video that will remind them how to use that toolbar, and that's great for your support people. It's also great for you if you want to go back and take a look at that. So this actually took us to the student section, but I want to go back to my main page where I was again. So we were in Student Corner. Webinars and workshops will give you other workshops that are free of charge. And some of those are great for professional development. You can work with your district as far as whether they will count those as credit for PD for you. There is a YouTube channel that will give you usually videos that are between 2 and 8 minutes that will describe different courses and feedback and how-tos. So take a look at that. That's a great resource. So that was 2 things. We've looked at how to get to support, and we looked at the teacher resources. Now we're going to look under our solutions. So if you are teaching a course that has an industry certification attached to it, if you take a look there, that will show you the past promise that we have and information about the different industry certifications and how our courses lead to being prepared to take those. And then here are the testing registration sites, and you can see the business ones: education, health science, hospitality, IT. There are lots and lots of test sites here that will give you that next step after students have taken the courses. So let's look at our last stop. Our last stop is the Our Products tab. So when you open this drop down, this is where you will find Learning Blade. You will find Knowledge Matters under the high school simulations if you are doing either of those simulation programs with your students. This is also the place that you will find our course catalogs. I'm going to scroll down here so that you can see there are curriculum libraries for middle school and then specific ones for high school. Let's take a look at the middle school catalog. The middle school catalog has courses that are specific to middle school. So you can see there are arts and media and computer science and technology and some science and health courses available. There are also courses that are appropriate for accelerated study for middle schoolers. So these are high school level courses, which are included in that bundle so that you'll have access to those as well if you take the middle school accelerated courses bundle. So this is a great place to be able to preview those different courses. And we have that same information for the high school courses as well, if you want to go in there and see what is available besides the courses that you're using now. So thank you very much for spending your time with me here today. This last slide gives you some information about a phone number and an email address that you can use if you need to contact eDynamic with more questions. We wish you the very best as you get started in your eDynamic learning courses. Thank you.